Hello, Heli Helperton here again. We're going to do a little repair here on a Axe CX Micro. These have been off the market for quite a while, but if you're like me, maybe you have one, or in my case 3 laying around. And every now and then when there's no wind outside, I get them out and play with them, and once in a while I have a little accident. So we had a little blade strike incident the other night. Changed controllers and it was way out of trim, and these things are bad about blade striking themselves. They're decent little helis if you run across a used one and want something just to fool around with, and when you can't fly, you know, something a little more serious. They're fun to fool around with. They're very maneuverable for a coaxial helicopter, and for their size they're kind of heavy. I made a little styrofoam model of myself there in there, a lot thinner of course. And I've also put lights on 2 of mine. This one here is basically a new one. I think I flew it once. But when these first came out, I was nuts about them because they look like a little Hughes 300, and I like the Hughes 300. So anyway, we're going to put a set of lower blades on this, and I'm sure that most everybody out there has probably done this by now. But anyway, we'll go ahead and do it just in case somebody needs to know. So I've run into some fellows out there that are just afraid basically to do anything to their helis, and it's really nothing to intimidate you. They're very easy to work on. And right now I'm trying to find some decent blades out of here. The trouble with these are they don't have the lead lag hinge, as in, you know, this 120 SR has. You see the lead lag hinge, so it, you know, kind of protects you if you have a little accident. In most cases the blade won't break. So for some reason, and I do hold on to old parts, but those are some blades that aren't any good. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, okay. Alright, so we got, I'm not real wild about this used one here, but just for demonstration purposes I guess we can use it. But what I do here is go ahead and start one of the screws, and I hope the camera's getting all this. I don't have a very good camera here, and I'm not very good at those kind of things, but when it comes to fixing stuff, a little better. So what we're going to do is start one of these. Now this little screwdriver I'm using here is put out by Duratrax, and if you're going to do any micro helicopters or cars or airplanes or anything, you really need one of these. They're only like $2-3 at your hobby dealer. You can probably find them online somewhere. Okay, so you want to check and make sure that these pins aren't broke. Now if you break these, what I have done in the past is drilled these out and put a little piece of metal in there instead of the plastic that's molded in there, and guess what, it holds up much better than the original. Okay, so now we can just work that on there, and if you notice I didn't tighten that screw, I just started it in there because these can be a nightmare. This is the broken piece with the other screw. Alright. Alright, so we'll get that started in there. These things have a lot of swash plate movement, and basically if you're, say, in a right turn and you're letting it go pretty fast, and it is pretty fast if you fly this in a no wind condition, which is basically what you have to, it gets along pretty good. And if you make a quick maneuver, you can cause it to blade strike itself. Done it many times, unfortunately. But that's what makes these fun. I mean, they're for a coaxial helicopter, they're pretty aggressive. Now the other problem is we lost one of the links. I don't know if you can see that real good. It's one of the main shaft links there. So and that sucks, because you can see, and I think this was probably originally a pair. $1.99 in my hobby shop is cheap compared to anywhere else. But you inevitably will lose one of those in a crash, and if you're lucky you can find it. If not, have one on hand. Now this has a side where the holes are a little bit bigger. It's hard to tell, but when you go to snap it on, you can see if it wants to fight you and don't want to go on. And then we'll get that down there. Oh, I missed it. Okay. I think it has to go over, maybe. No, I had it right. Well, okay. Let's make sure that doesn't have a split in there. Ooh, man, that's awfully loose, awfully loose. And that's one of the reasons these fall off so easy. Okay, we got it. And that's a little bit sloppy. That's normal there for that. Okay, I'll show you some modifications I've done to this one. I've changed the tail boom to look more scale, and you'll see some hot glue here, which isn't beautiful, but it works for me. And I've also added lights. So we'll plug it in, let you see some light action. And I'll tell you, when you get lights on these, that's the way to go, because nighttime is going to be about the only time it's calm enough to fly it. Because if you guys have fooled around with coaxials, I'm sure you've seen that they don't take any wind at all. And this thing's got decent little motors. A trick to this helicopter to making it last is fly it once on the battery. Don't stuff another battery in it and fly again right away. Let the thing cool down, because these little motors were never made for something like this. I mean, these things are made in China. They go to these motor factories and they go, okay, we're going to use this. We need, 100,000 of these or whatever. And they really weren't designed to for a device like this. And you can see they put little heat shields on them factory, which is a good idea. But if you want them to last, let it cool down between runs. Give it a chance to cool down. Alright. And then we've done, of course, similar modification on this guy. And you can see my repair jobs. I got tired of buying bodies. Let me show you something else that's a problem with these. You see all the glue I've got in here? Yes, it's kind of unsightly. But that was, I actually put that glue there, and this is not broken. I put that glue there to reinforce it, because here is a absolutely terrible thing on these. Now this one, I don't think I've done that to yet, but I just want you to look at how flimsy that is. I mean, look at that. And it just, if you hit hard, it breaks that battery box. And it's a heavy little heli, so it hits kind of hard. You don't want to hit this hard on the ground or anywhere else. Let me see. And then of course the bad part is blade strikes. I mean, blade strikes are done. If you're gonna have one of these, you got to have a bunch of blades. So okay, it's flight weight 4.45 ounces is what this one's weighing out at. This doesn't seem like much, but it is for a small little craft like this. And 126 grams. if anybody out of the United States is watching this. We're still undecided in here whether we're going to use metric or standard, so we use both. My scale looks like it's been through a coffee war there, I think, or something. So anyway, glad to show you this. I hope it's a little bit helpful to you and not a waste of time. And if you have any questions, leave them in the remarks and I'll try to answer them for you. There are still parts available for these out there. What I did was I went to my hobby shop when he was closing out of them and I bought all the parts I can get. So you know, they're a lot of fun. As far as the lights, you just you go to Radio Shack, Hobby Shop, and get LED lights. You will need to use a resistor with them if you're going to run them off a straight battery. And then you see here, all I did was tap into, and you could do this much neater than I did. I didn't want to cut the wire, I just wanted to tap into it. That's why it's not neat. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one.